Welcome back, everybody. I hope you're all fantastic. As always, thank you all so much for all your questions for this week's Q&A. Before we get going, I'm just going to put a little bit of mood music on. I'm going to use my PolyFX Digit. I've been playing around with this a lot this week, doing some modular synthesis stuff, and it's been a bit of a week in Perth. So I'm just going to turn this on and zen out for a little bit while I answer your questions. That's a lot better, isn't it? Okay. If you have questions for next week, do not hesitate to put them in the video description. If you want to support the channel, there's links to my Patreon and the music that I make as well. Also in the video description, let's go with this week's questions. This one comes from PRS Dave 22. I'm Scottish and I can't even imagine surviving in an Australian summer. How do you do it? Well, Dave, there's a pretty good reason the majority of the population in Australia lives right on the coastline, and it's because of that kind of brutal, oppressive summer heat. If I wasn't able to go to the beach during summer, I don't know what I would be doing. I probably wouldn't be living here. I might come to Scotland because yeah, it's rough, but you know, because of that, I love getting the opportunity to swim in the ocean, and we are so lucky. So much of Australia is pretty pristine as well, so fortunate there that there's cool water. This one comes from Doug Eagle. How does George Lynch get his tone? Your guess is as good as mine, Doug. I've been lucky enough to stand about a meter away from George while he's been playing a concert. He was just plugged into a dimed 100-watt plexi, guitar straight in. There is magic in those fingers. I know it's a cliche, but I think his picking technique and his right hand attack and his overall ability to really articulate smooth lead lines while being able to transition from playing rhythm guitar into those kind of just effortless shreddy lines is it's pretty phenomenal and pretty amazing. I'd love to see somebody like Troy Grady analyze George's playing, because you can't put George in a box. You know, he does this incredible stuff, and it's almost like, rather than technique, it just kind of sounds like blood and guts and willpower. That's how he's getting his sound. So yeah, that's my take on it anyway. I wouldn't even bother trying to replicate what he does. This one comes from MIPE, Salt, Fat, Acid, Meat. That's the book sitting behind me. It's Salt, Fat, Acid, Heat. If you want to up your cooking game, I would highly recommend getting that book. It's incredible. Really goes into the kind of fundamentals of what makes food delicious and how you can harness those things when you're cooking. So would recommend. I wonder if there would be a guitar equivalent of that. For me, it would be wah, distortion, delay, reverb. That would be my book. This one is from Demon Drive. Wouldn't have expected that I'm a mathematician. He's a thermal power engineer. So like any engineering sphere, we heavily rely on maths and physics. Yeah, maths and physics is it's the language of doing stuff, isn't it? So, and well done for English being neither your first nor your second language. That was easy to comprehend. Let's see. This one's from Steve Lowe, 74. If you had one guitar with vintage level output, how would you compensate with the FM3 to get different sounds? So like blues to Van Halen to Winger. A couple of different ways. You can obviously use drive pedals. You can use a filter block as a boost and try bump the mid-range as well as the level. You can try a compressor with not much compression but lots of level. And you can try a parametric EQ, like try a kind of custom pre-EQ curve. I've talked about pre and post EQ and how you can use those, and essentially your guitar is part of your pre-EQ circuit. So that's how I would go about that. By the way, this multi-resonator in here in the old Bebo is pretty fantastic. The Bebo's not old, it's a brand new thing. I really like how you can kind of mess around with, you know, these random parameters in here to get generative music like that. This is nice. This is really nice. I've just been putting this thing on while I've been doing stuff, and you know, it's like a CD that never repeats. It's really fun. Tea or coffee in the morning, and why? This one's from David Suzuki. David, I'm drinking a tea at the moment because it's the afternoon here, and I try not to have more than one coffee a day. I do love a good coffee in the morning, so I'm very much in that routine with my, I've got a lever machine, the Flare. Awesome, awesome, so much fun to press out some espresso in the morning. DMAC70, what is the new logo in the lower right corner of the screen? Well spotted, so that's my new logo, and it's LT. Shout out to the one and only GT Singh for making that for me. There was a reason I wanted to change that. The LT lightning bolt thing, a few people pointed out that that kind of looks like an SS lightning bolt, and there is no way in the world I want to be associated with anything like that, so I thought it was time to revamp the logo. I feel like once a year, twice a year, I might get it updated anyway, so yeah, you know, that one kind of kicked me over the edge with that. It's like, well, okay, that's not that that's the intention at all, but I would much rather go for something that that is the opposite of that, as I'm sure we all would. This one is from Hoosier Daddy. Let's see. Where's the question in here? Question for you. If you were buying a used Axe FX, would I go for an Ultra or an AX8? I've still got my old Ultra. My dad has my AX8 now, and he loves that thing, and I really like the Ultra. But I would probably go for an AX8, purely because it's got the built-in buttons. The AX8, I think, is still such a fantastic gigging solution. Still sounds incredible. It is really, really straightforward to use, even though I'm using the FM3 now because it's got the updated modeling, so it sounds exactly like my Axe FX3, and it's more compact, which I kind of like. It lets me focus on what I want to do while I'm gigging. I would say if you're in the market for a used one, get an AX8. Let's see what happens when I press this button. That's nice. I like that. Alrighty. The middle of summer, yeah, that's a southern hemisphere, Kenny B. Alrighty, and on that goth question last week, quite a few people suggested some cool music that I've been getting into. Thank you to Lewis or Louis for suggesting Fields of the Nephilim. That's pretty cool. I'm digging that. This one's from Michael Parkinson. The Michael Parkinson? I'm sure you get that all the time. Any chances we can get a link to that delay preset? I'll have to find it. And if I do remember to find it by the time I get this up, I will put a link in the video description. But if you search Echoplex Juniors on the forum, you should be able to find it. The wrong way of doing setups and still achieving the right results is kind of what I was going for. This one's from PowerMac 7600. All right, I can give you some absolute bush mechanic tips when it comes to setting up guitars, so maybe that's something I'll try to do over the next month. Alrighty. This is a really nice comment from Treld. All I can say is I love the videos. Thank you, and I wish there were more guys doing this that have your abilities. That's really nice. Thank you. Thank you very much. Kingfisher sorts their VHS tapes into genre. That's a clever way to do it. Alrighty, this one's from It's Me, the Seventh Seal, but I'm gonna just play around with this little thing. Let's change some of these. This is really nice. Let's see what happens when I mess around with the position. Oh, this is different now. And the structure. Let's turn that down. I'm blissing out here at the moment. If this is annoying, I apologize. I won't do this every week, but if you are enjoying this little soundtrack under all of this, please let me know. So, It's Me, the Seventh Seal. Recommend any particular noise suppressor pedals? Look, I haven't tried one of these personally, but I know a lot of people swear by it, the Fortin Zool. That's attractive because you can key the input, meaning you can put it in your effects loop, but you can feed a DI signal from your guitar's output to trigger the gate, and that's basically what I do with the gate block in the Axe FX3. I think the ISP Decimator does a similar thing as well, so there would be two that I would look at. This one's from Camille. How do you like Nita Strauss playing guitar for Alice Cooper? I'm not asking about her look, but her skills as a guitar player. Nita's skills are awesome, and I have to say, Nita is probably one of the best performers I've ever seen. When I go and see a rock show, she does everything that I want to see a guitar player do. She dominates the stage. It's pretty amazing. I went and saw her clinic, I think it was last year here, and she just had that presence. You know, when, you know, some people just have that rock star presence. Nita has that rock star presence, and the way she jumps around on stage and just goes for it. I think that's something we can all take on board. So she's amazing. Ben Wilson, friend of the channel, do a coffee vid, bro. If anyone wants to see me do a coffee vid, let me know in the comments. The reverb freeze patch, can it be set up in the FM3? Yes, it can. Attach a control switch to the reverb hold parameter. Should do a video about that. Or I talked about Jonathan Cordy. Go and check out his channel. Maybe John will do an FM3 freeze video, because I know he's got an FM3 and that guy is the master of the freezy reverbs. Alrighty, let's see. Where are we at next? This one's from Steve Klein. He talks about his cover band playing Marseille by the Angels. I love that. That is a dirty, filthy rock and roll boogie. Great song. Just changed something on the Bebo there. And let's have a look at this. We've been absolutely smashing through these. So again, if you've got questions for next week, let me know in the comments. This one is from Rumi. Curious about your thoughts on fellow Aussie guitarists from INXS. They had a lot of guitar orchestration happening, albeit simple parts. Well, I'll just say straight away that my favorite thing about INXS is the guitar orchestration. The way they can get those really twangy, compressed, clean parts to sound absolutely monstrous. Like if you have a listen to Suicide Blonde through a really big sound system, that's a great sounding song. Yeah, and I think that simplicity and that production is one reason that band was so successful. Obviously, Michael Hutchence being, again, talk about the rock star thing. That guy, arguably more than anyone else, had it going on. 5 riffs of INXS. Yeah, that would be interesting. That would actually be a good excuse to go and listen to a lot more of their back catalogue. We have done a cover of Never Tear Us Apart. There's an acoustic version that we did live on radio, kind of floating around the internet. So if you search Ragdoll Never Tear Us Apart, you can go and check that out. Ryan sounds fantastic on that one. And one last one about another Australian band. If you were to compile a list of your favourite Aussie rock bands, where would Silverchair land? That's a good question. I will say that Diorama is easily in my top 5 or 10 favourite Australian albums of all time. That thing is, you know, I didn't get into it when it came out, but when I finally heard it, our drummer Cam and I were driving home from a show in Kalgoorlie one weekend, and he was like, oh, I just really want to listen to Diorama. I was like, I've never heard it. So we listened to the whole thing, and it just hit me so hard. It's such a great album. I know when it came out, it alienated a lot of people, but I think with the benefit of hindsight, it's amazing. So yeah, maybe I wouldn't say they're in my top 10 favorite bands, but that particular album is a winner. Alrighty, that's all the questions from the Q&A. I feel like I had a few extra questions just posted on random videos, so let me go to my comments and have a look what we've got there. This one's from Matthew Donnell. How would I set up the EQ controls to follow the drive when using the pitch modifier in the INXS 3? What I would do is probably attach the pitch follower just to the mid-range control. I know, speaking to Brett Garced, you know, name drop right there, but Brett's probably my favorite Australian guitar player, and he sent me a message asking about that, and I think he's been playing around with it attached to the mid-range control. So gain and mids go up, and maybe bring the treble control down. So as you play higher, it's going to get less harsh sounding. That would be really, really fun. Where else are we? So again, monitors that I use, I'm using Atom A7Xs for all the INXS stuff, all the modeler stuff that you hear. And there was one other one which stuck out during the week. This is a really, really good question. The Lexicon PCM 81. I'm going to do my best to replicate some of those sounds with the INXS as well and put some patches up very soon. And probably with the Digit as well. I'm going to try shoot some reverb IRs of the Lex, and if I do that and they turn out well, I'll share them. So anyone who has a Digit or Bebo will be able to get those as well. Having said that, thank you all so much for watching the video. I'm going to play around with this little thing and just see how long it takes me to absolutely stuff up this vibe we've got going. Please, wherever you are, stay safe, be good to one another. I'll see you all next week. That didn't take me very long to mess this up, did it?